Hey girls, and welcome back to the podcast. Yeah, where sisters come together, we grow, we inspire. We are trying to figure this thing out, which is called life. We don't have all the answers, but we are here to share our experience and to learn and grow together. We are so excited because today we have the beautiful Alice here with us, our first guest on this podcast. Should we start with a little breath work?
Yeah.
Just come in. We're all in this, right?
Yeah.
This breathwork game. So let's take a deep breath in and a breath out. And breathing back in and letting it go. So nourishing. One more. We breathe back in. Thank you.
Grounded.
Yeah, oh my God. I felt actually kind of nervous and excited because it's such an other energy. And also Anna and I, we sat together today in a cafe and we brainstormed so many things about the vision and oh my God. And I'm just I feel this excitement rising so much, and breathwork is always okay, bringing me down again.
And it's exciting to have you here, right?
Exactly.
Our first guest, so it's also another energy, and we will flow into it. It's going to be a nice conversation.
Yeah.
With all of us.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. It's such an honor to have you here, knowing a little bit about your story, and we're going to dive into that in a moment. But what you're trying to build with your business as well, and with your life, and the transition that you've made in your life. So we're really happy to have you here, and would love to dive deeper into all these aspects. So I would say, let's start. Go right ahead. Alice, who are you? Hard this question, but a little intro.
Define myself in a few words in a few seconds.
Yeah.
No. So, Alice. I am, my line of work at the moment is yoga, breathwork, nervous system regulation, facilitator, coach. I'm currently living in Bali, teaching yoga here in Bali, and I'm co-founder of a business called Soulseekers with my dear friend Megan. So I can very much relate to you two getting excited about the brainstorming because, we're just navigating time zones. But we have founded a business that blends ancient somatic practices and wisdom with modern neuroscience and psychology to help people find more purpose in their day-to-day life and in their life as a whole. That's kind of what I do. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being here and sharing everything.
That's great. And we're going to dive into a lot of things, but one thing I would love to just start with is you've made that big life transition, right? From your life in London in corporate tech,
Yes.
right? Where we actually also met.
Where we met.
And then to now your life in Bali, in Uluwatu, where you're really focusing on yoga, meditation, but also or breathwork, but also your soul-seeking business. So I would love to dive just deep into that. And how did you make that transition, and how did it happen?
Yeah. It's amazing hearing you say that back to me, because I'm like, wow, if me a year ago would just sit here and be like, you did do all that, wow, would be so amazed. But how did I make the transition? It was definitely not overnight. And on the surface, right now, I have got to a place that I was kind of only dreaming of a year ago. And I can sit here now and reflect on that. But if you'd have asked me 6 months ago, I'd have probably been a bit all over the place and been like, I don't really know if it's working. But the process of, I feel like there was the process of leaving corporate, and that took a while for me to, I think took a while mentally and spiritually to actually realize that was the right path for me. And then honestly, I think everything got easier once I actually quit. Then it was trying different things, and there's probably so many answers that I could give to this question, but I feel like there's been lots of different stages of the process, and I feel like I'm still in a stage, but one of the biggest challenges has been actually believing that it's the right thing. And sometimes you do have those wobbles of like, oh no, is it the right thing? Have I made a silly decision? But at least where I am right now, and reflecting back on your question, I can be like, wow, I actually have done what I set out to do to an extent. So,
And what would you say was like the point where you said, this is not for me, the corporate world? Why did you change? What didn't feel aligned? And where did you felt it, maybe in your body? And how did you came to this feeling as well? Because I think a lot of people are also just like confused. There aren't jobs, like in corporate jobs, for example. And how can we go back to listen to our heart again, feel the connection, and really figure out what is it that I truly want? What is my purpose? I don't know. I'm in this corporate world, and I know there's something off, but I can't really name it. And how did you do it? And what was the point for you? I think this is super exciting.
I love this question so much. I love the question. I'm like, where do I start? I think I have asked myself this question recently, like, at what point did I make the decision? And there definitely wasn't one point. And the tricky thing when you're in something, and I've had this since corporate as well, but when you're in the midst of something and it's not right for you, it's very difficult to tell. It's like that saying of you can't see the woods for the trees. Like, it's very hard to see that when you're in it. And when I reflect back, I'd normalized a lot of things. When you refer to the body, like, I'd normalized a lot of things that really like shouldn't be normal. My body was giving me lots of signals that I wasn't in the right place.
For example, can you?
Like severe, like anxiety, like a lot of anxiety. So I had my most recent corporate job, I was there for a year. And from quite early on, it was very stressful, long hours. And I found the job very challenging. I was feeling super anxious to the point of having panic attacks, and I'd never had that before. My nervous system was very dysregulated. But at the same time, whilst work was very stressful, I was still living in London and living like the London life of like never really stopping. I was doing yoga, but the yoga I was doing was nothing like the yoga practices that I do now. It was much more like fast workout based stuff. I was doing lots of running. I was partying. I just like wasn't stopping at all, which I think is a very familiar place that a lot of people have been if they live in a city. But what happened was I was actually, even if I told myself I was going to relax on, say, a Sunday afternoon, I never ended up doing that because I was just my nervous system was in sympathetic overdrive. I actually like wasn't able to like sit on the sofa and read a book. Even if I like mentally I wanted to, I'd sit down and I was like, I can't stop moving, I need to do something. So my body was definitely giving me signals that I needed at least a break. But I think as well, when it comes to like career and doing something that's not aligned with you, I wasn't taking the time to slow down to even ask myself that question. And for me, I think it definitely took other people reflecting back to me what was happening. Like, I do remember 2 of my best friends came to visit me in London, and I was talking them through my situation at work and stuff like that. And they were like, it's obvious you just need to leave. Like, you shouldn't still be there. And I was like, what, really? And now looking back, of course, like, they were right. But I think there's also in corporate and when you've grown up going through university, school, like job, you think that you have to stay at things. You think you have to stick things out. You're like, I was saying, I need at least a year on my CV. I can't quit before the end of the year. And like, I don't know where that like mentality comes from, because actually I think quitting when something isn't right for you is one of the strongest things you can do. And you're going to just remain stuck if you don't actually listen to the signs. So yeah, I think a lot of us feel that pressure. And some people also, I think, don't want to. I've had this conversation a few times recently with friends. They say to me, well, I can't quit because I don't have a passion like yoga that I was going to pursue. And I was already teaching yoga. So it did make it a little bit easier for me to be like, well, I can see a route I can go down. But then I always say to those friends, I'm like, but you need to make the first step. And it's not like immediately I left and was like yoga teacher in Bali. It's like I still had to figure things out. And when you quit something, you give yourself the space to then explore.
And to ask the question. I love what you're saying there, because I think our stories also resonate with that, but I resonate a lot with that. I resonate with that a lot. It's like, you know, when I was going out of the corporate world as well, I just needed time, like time and space, because you don't give it to yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I think what you were saying, the slowing down is so important, and then something can emerge, right?
Yeah.
And actually being okay in the unknown. So
yeah, this is
and you
super
also
powerful. Yeah, I think we really have like a lot of synchronicities here and a very similar background, like the journeys to, you know, get to a life that feels more aligned, more heart-led in a way. And yeah, somehow finding your purpose in this world and really, yeah, taking actions into that direction, but also give yourself the space, what you also said, like really giving yourself also the permission to slow down, because in this world everything is so fast, and you need to do more. But actually to find the connection towards yourself, you need to slow down to be able to listen. Otherwise there is so much noise, you can't hear anything. So it's really the key, I believe, to slow down. It was so important for me to slow down.
Yeah.
So I could listen again, so I could feel what I really want to do.
Yeah.
And to go on this path of a more heart-led life in a way. So thank you for sharing this. Yeah, super important, I think.
And I think you've added something like really valuable there, is that people feel like they need permission to slow down, or they need to earn rest.
Oh my God.
And like at the end of the day, it's like, we're not just talking about the little pockets of rest. It's like, who said that it's natural for us to be working 5 days a week, however many weeks a year? Like we do actually need to rest, but it's just normalized, this go. And like our biology also needs to rest. Like we need to be able to rest. And when I wasn't able to even sit on the sofa and read a book, I was just in sympathetic overdrive. And actually, like, you need to go into the parasympathetic side of your nervous system, it's biology, so that you can rest and repair, and your brain can like process thoughts. And
exactly, especially as a woman.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you know, because we are beings with a cycle, like a 28-day cycle. So every day is different. Our hormones are different every day. So it's so important to take rest as well. Some days you feel more energized. Some days you really need to rest more. For example, this morning I was like, okay, let's go. I'm going to yoga. But I'm like on the second day of my period. So I was like, you know what? I don't know. I don't feel it.
Did you not go?
And I didn't go.
Well done. Yeah. So
and I
still
oh my God, I
struggle.
canceled. Yeah, I had this, no, I need to move. I want to move as well. And then I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to cancel. Maybe I'm going to yin yoga later. But, you know, something slow. And really give myself permission to slow down, because this is such an important time to rest, to have this energy again afterwards. So especially in the corporate world, I think this is a huge thing, because we don't have this implemented. There's this like go, like 9 to 5, every day is the same. And for us women, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you want to let us know a little bit about your like tools that you use for yourself to come back, to regulate your nervous system. I think this is super important also for women outside. What can you really do to, like, what kind of practices did help you, like, to come back to yourself, listen and slow down?
I also love this question because I was speaking to another wellness practitioner yesterday about how, and it's funny how we slip back into our old insecurities no matter how much work we do on ourselves. And I was saying to my friend, I was like, I just feel like I'm struggling to slow down at the moment. Like I'm like, go, go, go. And I'm struggling to rest. And that's where I was like a year ago. And it's like, the reality is a lot of people in the like wellness sphere are like that. Some people think that because you're a yoga teacher, you're super calm. And it's like, no, actually, I came to yoga initially because I needed the tools to like, I mean, first it was for the body to stretch, but then actually the tools to like slow down and realize that there is so much more that I can gain from yoga and all of the practices that branch out from that. Like yoga is just kind of a gateway to all of these other somatic tools. But the reason I started answering like that is because I do feel like I really need to use the tools to slow down because I naturally don't. And admittedly, like sometimes I catch myself like not even being able to use them, like simple breathwork techniques, because I'm like so in overdrive. And sometimes it's good because I'm like, I want to work, I've got ideas, like life's busy, life's great. But I think some of the simplest tools that you can use are the breath. And like something that I use very often is like a physiological sigh. So you may know it already, inhaling through the nose and then another inhale through the nose and then like wash out. I use that a lot. And also just sometimes like making my exhale longer. Like these are just little things that you don't need a mat, you don't need to sit anywhere in particular. You can just do it like when you're out and about. I've even done it like on the scooter before when I'm like, okay, I'm really stressed. I need to just breathe. But the breath is just like this incredible, underrated tool that I'm honestly like still on like my own discovery of the ways that we can use the breath. But very simple techniques are like in my back pocket for like whenever I need them.
This is amazing,
Yeah.
So simple in a way, but so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful.
And I think also, going back to your story, I think it's so important for people out there to maybe understand a little bit more, because you said, okay, you were in corporate, you decided to leave, and then you didn't know into what, right? You had a little bit of your yoga. And then you started to see with your business also Soulseekers, that you can actually help other people. So like, when was this, maybe, I don't know, if there was a time where like, how did this emerge and how was that experience for you?
Yeah, I love every question. I feel like I'm at a point right now where I always had this kind of idea that yoga is such a big part of my life. I want to help people with it because it's helped me. But also, if I'm honest, like I think teaching yoga was like, I needed to prove to myself that I could do it, because being in corporate for so long, I just kind of felt like, okay, I can do the tick box, be an employee of a company, like turn the cogs of a machine, but like, can I actually do something myself? And it improved my self-belief massively by actually being able to teach, earn my own money in that way, etc. But I have constantly just kept learning. Like I've always wanted to learn more. And the more I've learned about yoga, I feel like forged my own path. As many people, I think, who find yoga, often the trajectory is you come to yoga for like the physical benefits, and then you start to realize that you feel really good when you leave a yoga class and you're like, why is this? And then you start to look into the philosophy. For me, I did my yoga teacher training like 3 years ago. I did my 300-hour this year. I went on a number of meditation retreats last year. I just kept following what interested me, which is why,
That's
like,
a big one.
If you have the privilege of having some space away from work, like, it's the most, like, incredible time to explore. And I kept going like down these like avenues of being super interested in the impact of all of these techniques on the nervous system, and also how like certain things, when you go into your subconscious, you can start to change the subconscious programming that we're all born with, because most of us are just made up of our experiences from when we're younger. So then when you start to realize that there are practices out there, and like certain types of breath work are an example, yoga nidra, these things where you can go into yoga nidra, for example, you go into your theta and delta brainwave states, and you can actually start to change your subconscious programming. And it's worked for me, absolutely. Like when I've used these techniques, I feel like it's really started to shape my idea of my identity, which is ultimately what gives you the confidence to do these things. So I feel like I just kept following what was interesting to me. And then you can call it luck or fate, I don't know what it is, but my business partner, Megan, we kept bumping into each other in parts of life over the last 3 years where we're both just like doing the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's spooky. It sounds like there's so many parallels. But yeah, we quit our job around the same time, did our yoga teacher training around the same time. Randomly, we're in Australia at the same time, like for New Year's Eve, like without even planning it. We're like, this is spooky. And then we did our yoga, a 300-hour yoga teacher training together, and we were on a beach in Indonesia, and we just like, we were spending so much time together and just like having all these deep, meaningful chats. And I remember like being sat on a beach in Gili Tea in Indonesia, and we were both just, I can't remember the exact conversation, but we were like, hang on, if we've managed to do this and we're noticing a huge shift in our energy from the way we were working and how we were burning out in corporate based on, and now we're like almost doing as much, but we're getting more and more energy from it. We're like, there must be something here. And we were like, we both came up with this idea, okay, like burnout isn't because you're doing too much, you're just doing too much. It's you're doing too little of what you care about. And like this point of view has evolved. But that was something that just came from us. And then when we went away and did our research, we're like, oh, like experts like Dr. Gabor Mate are saying this. Like this is out there. Like we've learned this ourselves, but no one's telling people that are in our position a few years ago about this. And no one's giving them the tools. So we were like, that's when we came up with Soulseekers. We came up with the name. We had our notes out in our phone. And then just from that moment, I was like, I feel so much energy for this, and we've just both been so energized since that point. So I think the beach in Gili Tea was probably like the big turning point where I was like, I've done the yoga teacher thing, which I love, and I want to keep teaching yoga, but like this is something.
Yeah. And I just love to, where you're saying like you followed, like if it's your intuition, what excites you, like the little, like we have a friend who says the breadcrumbs, of your life, and you just follow it piece by piece, and you don't know where it's going to lead, right?
Exactly.
But then you come in with the synchronicities of also a friend, at the same time coming, they're having the same vision, and it's been very close to what we've experienced, right? So I think that's so inspirational, and this is something that I think comes from the inside out and not from the outside in. Right? And this is what we want to like birth as women also, like when you want to lead a purpose-led life, it's something from the inside, right?
We have it already in us. I think we just need to learn to listen again to our intuition, because our body is telling us everything every day, but we just like go faster and faster and shut it down with all the noise from the outside, so we can't really listen. We don't hear it. So it's super important to use all these tools like yoga, breath work, even these little things like taking a pause for a little breath, just like deep inhale and sigh it all out. Start there. This is the super start to connect, actually, to feel, to let go, slow down, even these little moments. And then like little breadcrumbs, right? It doesn't have to be this huge thing, right? To quit right away or anything. So because sometimes maybe you can't do it at the moment, But I think like these little things lead you then to listen again and to feel. Is so important. So important. Yeah, beautiful.
I would love to just add to that as well, because that's just made me think of like, there is, and this is what we are teaching people at Soulseekers, like there is also a neuroscience behind this, the fact of slowing down so you can hear your intuition. And whenever you get stressed, the prefrontal cortex, which is like the front creative, imaginative part of your brain, the bit that you need to like hear your intuition and make these cool decisions, that goes offline. And all the blood flows to your amygdala, which is your fear center. So whenever you're in a sympathetic state, in fight and flight, or if you're in a complete freeze, which is what burnout is, you can't then make those decisions and you can't listen to your intuition. So we are trying to teach people to actually, like, there is a science behind why you need to slow down so you can actually be creative. And I noticed that, I don't know if you noticed this as well, but like when I was in corporate, I look back and I never felt creative. And I would have almost said I'm not a creative person. And then when I left corporate and all of these ideas, and I was like learning like music, which I'd never done in my life, and like all of this stuff, I was like, I am a creative person. Everyone's creative.
Yes.
You're here to create.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not consume.
Yes.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. But it is so important. It's so important.
Yes.
Oh my God. I feel you so much. Also, when I worked in my previous job, it was so interesting because even though it wasn't like super fast, but I didn't have energy after it. Because you were so drained from the job, you can't really come into this creative flow and you don't feel creative. And now everything, I have so many downloads here and there, and like I really have this like, I want to create, all these ideas are coming up, and I want to use my voice and sing and play an instrument, paint. It's so crazy.
Come to think, like that's what we were meant to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have another question for you.
Okay.
So you said you used yoga kind of as a way to gain back confidence. And I think as women, we struggle with that quite a bit. The confidence, I can't do it, I'm not enough, I don't know what I should create, I'm not creative, I can't live a purpose-led life. So I would love for you to explain your journey a little bit more on the confidence, especially.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, well, I recognize now that I always had this like subconscious, like limiting self-belief, which I think is very common, especially for a lot of women, that you aren't able to achieve what you've never seen someone close to you achieve, or you've never achieved, or like that voice in your head, these like limiting beliefs, essentially like that is the mind talking to you. And the mind is there. This is a huge learning for me. I'm like, the mind is there to keep you safe. It wants to keep you small. It wants to keep you doing the things you've already done. Yes. So I would look at other people. It's actually quite wild how little belief I had in myself to teach yoga. And then I think it was just because I was putting these other people on pedestals, when actually the reality of teaching or holding space for people in that way is not that you need to know it all. Like I've learned that you are holding space for people to have their own experience. So as long as you are embodying the practice yourself, which I have been for years, like I've been practicing yoga for years, if you're embodying it yourself, you can't be bad at holding the space for people. And in all honesty, I couldn't stop until I at least got over that hurdle of that little voice in my head saying, you can't do this. And this is where I did use, like, I remember a very powerful breathwork experience that I had. I did 9D breathwork. I've only done it once before. I don't know if you've done a 9D breathwork experience before. But anyway, I actually don't know all of the mechanics of it. It felt to me quite similar to conscious connected breathing, but had this 9D breathwork experience at the Astana here in Bali. And I remember, like, it was around self-belief and fears and limiting beliefs. And I was just trying to ingrain into my subconscious, like, I am good enough, I can do this. And it actually did have such a big shift. And I think one of those like subconscious patterns that I had, because after that, I did start talking to myself in a different way. And maybe this was more me being very aware of that being something that was holding me back. Like, I had a mantra that I wrote on my phone, and I like was my screensaver for ages, and I would just like say it to myself every day. So I actually started to change my own view of my own personality. And then when I actually started teaching, I came over such a huge barrier. And I think once you prove to yourself that you can do one thing, then it's like, okay, like, are we like, we're living in like, the world isn't what we thought it was.
Exactly.
Like,
Yes.
we don't have to
There's
stay
abundance,
in this box.
and you can do it all in
you
that
can
sense,
do
right?
anything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But often the thing that's holding you back is yourself.
Oh my God.
It's your brain. It's your mind. It's what you've been told. And as women, coming back to it, like, as women, so often we're told to keep ourselves small and to please other people and to act a certain way. And I think that feeds a lot into our self-belief.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So many years of being told that is like,
It's a lot. Yeah, and then living in this like social media world right now, you know? Wow, this is also a huge one.
But I want to come back to the embodiment. I think it's so
Yes.
profound to say, okay, hey, I need to embody it so that, like, through my body and maybe through what you're saying to yourself, or how you're maybe, acting, like you're putting your shoulders down, you then create the value, like the reality, right? Of being like, I am enough.
yeah.
Like, I used to do a practice, actually, Kupangan, when I would have these limiting self-beliefs. I was like, okay, how would a person act who already knew she's enough? Like, how would Anna act if she knew she would be enough? And then I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't rush. I would walk with confidence. And I would, like, not open the door like this. I would go like, oh, okay. And I would get on my scooter and I'd be like, okay, I'm not rushing. Like, how am I talking? Like, how am I talking as a person who already knows she's enough? I'm talking not with like, I'm quiet. I'm going like, hi, I'm here. My voice is here. Right? So I think I love how you're saying that you're embodied it first, and then it became reality, and you overcame, that hurdle with, hey, others are on a pedestal, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I think it's super important to also talk about, okay, hey, when you are a girl right now, like in a corporate job, or whatever, it doesn't have to be a corporate job, just like in a place where you don't really feel connected, and how to start, like, what are the tools, how to start to find more clarity again? Maybe like your favorite 3 tools, like also like little steps. What would you start with?
Okay. I think we've spoken a lot about slowing down. And I do think
How exactly?
allowing yourself that space. Yeah. How exactly?
It's like it's a huge thing, okay? Like slow down, but what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
To be honest.
I understand as well, because when we say these things to people, but they're already in like functional freeze or burnout or something, and they're in my position where they couldn't slow down.
Yeah.
It's tricky, right? And I think it's such a luxury to be able to. It is a luxury to be able to quit your job and leave.
Yeah, of course.
Of course it is. And that's, if anyone could do that and they're holding back from doing that, I would say that's the first thing to do. Because I think people are scared they can't go back. And I heard this thing about failure, and it's like, failure is, can I remember it? It was essentially, the gist of it is like, if you fail, you're only ever going to, like, failure is, you're only ever gaining something, because you just end up back where you started. However, you have the data points to know that that was the wrong way to go. So we think of failure as like this negative thing where you're losing something, but actually you are gaining something in the process.
Definitely.
So
I think there is no wrong decision at the end of the day. It's always like either you win or you learn.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
This is it.
So exactly. So I appreciate some people can't quit their job, and if you can't quit your job, it's like, I actually do like really advocate for taking a step into the somatic world. And what I mean by like that is simply going to a yoga class, going to a breathwork class, meditation class, and maybe you won't like it. And this is the interesting thing. It's like sometimes these kind of, we see them sometimes as exercise classes, like similar to Pilates and things. And if you go to yoga and you're like, well, I don't like yoga, a lot of the time it can be because it is quite confronting. Like it's not something you can push through. It's something where you're meant to sit with yourself. And actually the slower the practice, the better. So if you can go to a yin class or like hatha, slow flow, something like that, where you can be with your breath, I think this is a great step or gateway into coming into your body.
Super important.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yeah. And you've said like your body knows, your body definitely knows. And so often when we go into burnout, we disconnect or disassociate from our body, and we need the somatic tools to come back into our body, because that is when we start to hear. Yeah. So that's maybe what I would mean by slowing down. If someone can't quit their job, it's like find a way to come into your body a little bit more. And it's also very easy to like take a 1 week holiday and feel better. But then, of course, you come back to the same situation. Yeah. So I think coming into the body via something like that, but also finding something as part of your routine that you can also do to start to listen to that voice inside. So I know like meditation is very hard for people when they've never done it before. And there's so many tools out there that can help you with just like a minute or two in the morning. Like meditation for me it's now a habit that I do every morning, but like meditation doesn't look like meditation when you first start. It probably looks like sitting down, closing your eyes and listening to your breath. And people might quit because they don't see the benefits from that, but that is the first step.
Oh yeah.
And then
exactly, because there is no goal at the end of the day, right? It's exactly that. No, there is no goal, there is no expectation. There's just like being.
Yeah.
Just being in the moment. Mm-hmm. And this is the trickiest part. You have nowhere to be, nowhere to go. Like, but what should I do? Nothing.
Yeah.
You know? But this is the hardest thing, to just do nothing at all and just be, right?
Exactly. And I think like all of these practices, so whether it is just like sitting in a corner with your meditation app every morning for like 2 minutes and breathing, all of these kind of habits, I think are a gateway into understanding yourself better. So I want to make sure that I do actually answer the question of like, what should people do? Because I am like so aware that some people might just switch off if I'm like, quit your job and move to Bali, because people can't.
Yeah.
But you can take these tiny steps to start listening to yourself. And then when you start to trust your own body and understand your own body better, then you can find communities, find support of people that also share your dreams or will just listen to your dreams, you know? I think every situation is so nuanced, but it all starts with listening to yourself.
Definitely, and I think, thank you for sharing that. I think this is actually super huge. It doesn't have to be like these big changes that we said earlier as well, but really start to come back to your body with these practices. And I know there will be resistance here and there. I also, I had actually like a talk with my sister about it. It was, when you said it, it was like, oh my God, yes, it's really interesting, because she was like, you know what, Vanessa, I would love to do yoga with you, but I think I'm not ready yet. She was like, I'm not ready to feel all of these things and to be confronted.
Yes.
And because it's a confronting practice. And she was so honest to me, and I was like, you know what, this is also okay, but you are aware of it. And you choose it. This awareness. Is so, like, wow, this is actually so strong. And I was like, hey, you know what? If you ever want to do yoga, if you ever want to meditate or breathwork, I'm here if you want. Mm-hmm. The space is always open for you, but there's no pressure. Yeah. And I think it's also like just showing up again and again and again and trying, and maybe try different yoga types, or then meditation, or there are also different types of meditation, you know, different types of breath work. Find the thing that aligns with you the most and with your life. Maybe it's also like putting on like amazing music in the morning and just shake it all off.
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't always have to be like meditating. Like, it also can be like super active.
Yeah.
Actually, to start with that, just shake it all off in the morning. And I love this. For example, the breath of joy. Sometimes in the morning, it's super powerful as well for me to just shift the energy. Yeah, I think super important. And community, of course.
Yes, 100%. And I think actually, like, we put so much pressure in the wellness world of like doing all these things, and actually it can almost lead to like wellness burnout because you're doing too many things. So actually, like, if you can't go to a yoga class, do breath of joy in the morning, do some somatic shaking, like dancing, just find your own thing, I think. And don't put too much pressure on having a schedule of all your wellness appointments.
Oh my God, this is huge.
Wellness burnout. I love it. I think it's such an important topic to talk about as well, because my spiritual master always says, like, your now I forgot the word, but your, not revelation, but your, what we're all aiming for. What is it? The spiritual...
Like awakening?
Awakening, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Your awakening is not in the next class, and the next teaching, and the next course, and the next, it's right here, right? So, like, I think I see a lot of people as, you know, spiritual seekers, like jumping from the next to the next to the next, and it's actually, do I take time for the integration? Like, do I actually slow down and integrate what I'm learning, and I'm not just hopping, 100%. Class hopping, right? Because then it's another ego-based thing.
It's again like just rushing from appointment to appointment, and I have this to do. Then it's not the corporate world. Then it's just like shifted into the wellness space where you also are stressed.
So easily done, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and I was just thinking there as well. So like, if we come back to like what people can do and what they should be focusing on, I mentioned at the beginning that Megan and I had this idea like of burnout isn't about doing too much, it's doing too little of what you care about. And actually we've both done like more of our own research. We did our 300-hour yoga teach training where there was a psychology module, and our understanding of burnout has evolved a little bit. And it's not just now, like now we understand it's not just about having a purpose, because you can be a mum with kids at home to feed, and like they are your purpose. So you have the purpose, but you're not present. And presence is the second thing that's super important to avoid burnout, because when people have the purpose, so they know they just keep pushing, and that's when they go into functional freeze. They dissociate from their body and they keep going, and then they're in burnout. So actually now we understand that you need to have purpose, and some people need to find that purpose because they're just busy, but they don't have any intention with their job, and that's where I was. However, you also need to have presence. So this is where slowing down to understand what makes you tick, but then also doing these practices so you ensure you are present. And
this is huge. I think presence is
Thank you, because I think there are a lot of people, right, who say, hey, I do have purpose in my life, right? Like, I have my kids, I love my job, but then I'm still burnt out. And then what you're saying helps these people as well. Wow.
Wow, this is amazing.
Wow. Coming to a close soon.
Such a good conversation.
I love it.
Is there a question that is still on your mind, or something? Let's see if there's something that's coming up that still needs to be spoken and shared.
I think we talked about so many beautiful things, especially like this last point now with the presence. This is so important, just to be here now. It's hard sometimes, but it's so important to come. It's such a essence, I think, to really enjoy the journey and not go focus on this end goal, but just life is a journey, and like keep it like day by day and try to be as present as possible. I think this is so huge.
I don't know where this quote originates from, but it's on Instagram all the time. But it's like that quote of to enjoy being in the process of becoming. And I always think about that, because I'm like, I can get stressed about the little things, but how amazing to be in like this exciting like whirlwind of like, I don't know where I'm going to be eventually. Like, I'm not looking at like the next step on the corporate ladder. I'm looking at like the abundance in front of me. I'm like, where am I going to go?
Yes,
and it's
girl.
easy to get stressed, but it's like, no, like enjoy it. Because one day in the future, you'll look back and be like, that was so fun.
Exactly, and I don't think there will ever be like a point in life where you, oh, okay, this is now, you know, who I am, and I'm done. There are never gonna be changes again. You know, like every day is different. You change every day, so like it's gonna always be a journey somehow, right? You're never gonna be at this like point where nothing is changing. Life is a constant change.
Yeah.
And I think this is so beautiful what you do, and thank you for sharing all
so much,
your
both of you.
insights. It's so beautiful the work that you do. Also with Soulseekers, we are super excited to see where this is going.
Same.
And
Yeah. And thank you. I just also want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, you know, you're showing women it's possible. And I think that's all we can do. Being an inspiration for other women, especially.
Yeah.
Like, we know so many women who want to make a change, but they don't know how. So thank you for going on your journey, which will inspire other people.
Yeah.
So it was a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, and I'd love to flip that around and say well done to you too, and thank you so much. And actually, like when you meet other people doing the same thing, like we knew each other like years ago in corporate, so like
it's so interesting.
It's so inspiring and energizing to meet other people doing the same.
Yeah, and then co-create, right? There is like the vision of us coming in again, like bringing women together, co-create, speaking about the things that we love, we want to change, and help others together, right? Create sisterhood, community, and grow and learn together. Exactly.
It's so cool. Thank you.
Thank you, girls, for tuning in to the podcast. Thank you, Alice, for being here.
Thank you.
And I would say see you in the next one.
Yeah, see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
I hope you pressed record. I'm only joking.